Okay, now what do we have here in this slide are the different cases as to how the surface is being oriented relative to the direction of the electric field lines. So, the colored red lines that you can see in the slide are the electric field lines. And as you can see, we have also different surfaces in in different orientations. In letter A, we have here that the surface of the plane is is positioned perpendicular to the direction of the electric field lines. And in letter B, or case B, you notice that the surface of the plane is actually parallel to the direction of the electric field lines. And in letter C, the surface of the plane is positioned with an angle with respect to the direction of the electric field lines. Now, um, in computing the electric flux in these different cases, we use different equations. But in letter B, actually it's just a simple illustration that the electric flux that we can get out from this is zero. Okay, as long as with the condition that the surface of the plane is in parallel with the electric field lines. However, in letter A, in which the surface area of the plane is perpendicular with the direction of the electric field lines, we assume that we can get the maximum electric flux here. And the formula that we're going to use is that electric flux is equal to the product of the strength of the electric field times the area, meaning the area of the plane. However, in letter C, we use a cosine, that is a trigonometric function, because we involve angle here in this particular case, meaning the equation that we're going to use here is electric field, or E, times cosine theta. The theta now will represent the angle of inclination relative to the direction of the electric field lines, times the area, or the area of the plane. So these are the three cases that we have to look into, especially if we're going to solve problems. And most of the time, actually, we are having problems that includes angles. So meaning we are going to use the equations shown in letter C in that case. And there are also problems that, or some tricky problems that involves letter B. It's just a matter of analyzing the problem. So you can just immediately have your own explanation and justify why is it that the electric flux is equal to zero. And the point here, why is it equal to zero? I'm just going to repeat it. It's because that the surface is in parallel with the electric field lines, or the direction of the electric field lines. So again, the electric flux is actually referring to the total electric field that crosses in a given surface. So that is what all about the electric flux. Now in this slide, what we have here is actually the illustration as to the direction of the electric field when a particular charge is inside the container or inside the box. Now, this is just a simple illustration that if in case the positive charge is inside the box, the electric field is directed outward. Okay, and that is the outward flux, and we can determine or compute that, no, by using the different equations in determining the electric flux. So take note again that if the particle is positive inside a particular container, the electric field is directed outward. And if it is negative, the electric field is directed inward. Okay, that is why it is called inward flux. All right. So it's just like similar with the analogy in a faucet. Okay, that the faucet will be our positive charge, at saka the negative charge will or can be likened into a sink na doon napupunta yung tubig na nanggagaling doon sa faucet. So there is an exit, there is an entrance and exit, okay, point of the electric field. And take note that the magnitude of the electric flux is always dependent on the strength or of the magnitude of the charge of the particle inside the container. So ibig sabihin, if the charge is small, most likely that the electric flux is also small. And if the charge is big or higher, okay, so the electric flux is also higher. All right. Now this time, we will talk about the zero net flux. So, kailan siya magiging zero yung flux niya or yung net flux niya. Okay? So, actually, we have three cases. The first case is that when there is really no electric field passing um, inside, or there's no electric field going outside, inside the box. So that is illustrated in the first box in colored orange. So electric flux in this case is zero, right? The second one is that when there are two opposite charges, ibig sabihin merong positive at saka merong negative of equal magnitude ng charge niya. So since because they are of the same magnitude and opposite charges. In other words, they cancel each other. Okay? Sabihin natin there is positive 1 and there is also negative 1 charge of particle inside the box. It cancel each other. So that also give us a zero net flux. Alright? Now, the third case is that when there is no charge inside the box, and what is happening is that there is a inward flux or inward electric field coming from the source outside, and it also passed through the box. So, in other words, the entering or the going in electric field is cancelled out when it goes out the box. So in that case, there will be zero net flux. So again, these are the different three cases that we can get zero net flux. The first one, if there is no electric field inside or outside the box, there's no charge inside the box. The second one is that if there are two charges of the same equal magnitude, however, it is opposite and it cancels out. And the third one is that when the electric field coming from the source outside is just passing through the box. All right. So these are the three cases when the net flux is equal to zero. Okay. Now what you can see in the slide are actually the equations that we are going to use in computing the electric flux. And the symbol that we use is actually a Greek letter called phi, sub E. Ibig sabihin, the flux na of the electric field. And the common equation that we use for a plane surface with a uniform electric field is the first equation that we have in the slide. That is the phi sub E equals EA. No, the E here represents the electric field, and that is assumed to be uniform, times the area of the surface where we are after of in computing the electric flux. And as what I've said a while ago, once the surface is at angle of inclination with respect to the direction of the electric field lines, that is the time that we're going to use the trigonometric functions, the cosine theta, right? So that will be the electric flux is equal to the uniform electric field times the area and times the angle or the cosine theta. Now, the general description of the electric flux is given in the purple equation at the bottom. So we have here the integral line, the integral symbol, I mean. That is actually referring to the entirety or the total or the totality of the entire small areas and of the entire electric flux acting on that particular area. Okay, that is why we have there the integral sign and E cosine theta and dA. Okay, dA actually represents the small portion of the area. Okay, and if you're going to use the integral, in other words, we are now referring to the entire area. Para lang siyang kapareho doon sa pag halimbawa yung gumagawa ng building, then we have small blocks of hollow blocks. So the dA there are the small portion of the hollow blocks. And if we're going to describe the entire wall that is made up of small hollow blocks, that is now we have the integral sign and the dA. Okay? And in the other equation, here we have the integral sign, the E sub P. Ibig sabihin that the what is being emphasized here is the direction of the electric field lines or of the electric field as a whole with the surface of the area is perpendicular. Okay, so it is perpendicular. So we can still compute for the electric flux in that particular situation. Now the third one, we have the integral E. Then you notice that there is a arrow at the top of letter E. That is because the area here is regarded as a vector area. Now, as what I've described while ago, that once the area is being multiplied to the normal line, doon sa previous slide natin, meron siyang n at caret sa taas. If we're going to integrate the direction with the magnitude of the area or of the wideness of the area, so we make area now as a vector in a vector form. So in that case, we also have to indicate that the electric field in a vector form as well to conform with uniformity of the two. Right? That is why we have the E and arrow sa taas multiplied with the D with the arrow sa taas. Okay? So what does A here? The apple A, for example, with the arrow at the top, that refers to the vector area. Okay, so these are the common equations that we use in computing the electric flux, and below are the different conditions that can be described as to how the electric flux is computed. Okay. Okay, now let us try to solve this problem. The problem statement is this one. A disk with a radius of 0.10 meter is oriented with its normal unit vector n caret at an angle of 30 degrees to a uniform electric field with the magnitude of 2.0 times 10 to the 3 Newton per coulombs. Now, so what is given in the problem? It says that the radius of the disk is 0.10 meters, and this is important value because we're going to use this to compute for the area of the disk. Okay, and take note that there is a mention of the normal unit vector here, and you can see that one in the illustration. So there is letter N there with a caret at the top of it. So that is the normal or the normal line. As what I've said a while ago, that a normal line or a normal is actually perpendicular to the surface area of the plane. Now in this problem is of the surface of the disk. So the normal line is actually at 30 degrees with respect to the electric field lines. All right. And the magnitude of the electric field in this problem is 2.0 times 10 to the 3 Newton per Coulomb. So in letter A, we are asked to determine the electric flux in this particular condition. However, in letter B, it is mentioned that the disk, if the disk is turned so that its normal is perpendicular to the electric field lines. In other words, if that's the case, the plane of the disk is now become parallel with the electric field lines because the normal line is perpendicular, right? So as what I've said a while ago, if the surface area of a particular plane is in parallel with the electric field lines, meaning we cannot I mean the value of the net flux of the electric net flux in that particular condition is equal to zero. So definitely letter B, the answer that we can get here, um, the electric flux is equal to zero. All right. Now in letter C, what is given is that what about if we're going to reorient the disk and the disk is I mean the normal of the disk is parallel with the electric field lines. So in other words, if that's the case, if the N or the normal or the normal line of the disk is parallel with the electric field lines, in other words, the surface area of the disk is perpendicular with the direction of the electric field lines. So as what I've said well ago in the previous slide, that if that is the orientation, that the surface area is perpendicular with the direction of the electric field lines, now we can get the maximum electric flux. So definitely there will be a value um, after the computation, and that value is the maximum electric flux that we can get, okay, in this particular condition, right? Now try to solve the problem and use the equations that I gave in the previous slide. And then after this, you have to pause the video for a while and then solve the problem. And then after that, try to check your solution if you got the correct um, solution or answer to the problem. Okay, so I hope you solved already the problem and you try to check if we have the same answer. Now, in solving the first statement, I mean the first question, we have to review what are the given. Now, in the problem statement, what are given are the following: the radius of the disk, that is 0.10 meters, the magnitude of the electric field, that is 2.0 times 10 to the 3 newtons per coulomb, and the angle between field and normal is 30 degrees. Now, since we're using degrees here or angle, no, so because the normal line is or the normal is inclined with the electric field lines, so we have to select what's the appropriate equation to be used. Now, in this case, we're going to use the equation electric field equals EA cosine theta, in which the letter E represents the magnitude of the electric field, and the letter A is the um, the area of the disk. Okay, so yes, the phi here in the equation represents the electric flux. So the unit that we're going to use here is Newton times meter squared per coulomb, and the area, of course, the area of the disk, and the electric field magnitude, and the theta represents the angle between field lines and the normal. Now, the second step is, of course, we're going to compute the area of the disk. So, in computing the area of the disk, we're going to use the equation A equals pi r squared. Now, we know already that pi is equal to 3.1416, then times 10 squared, so that will be 0.01. So 3.1416 times 0.01, that is equal to 0.0314 square meter. Alright, so that's the area of the disk. Now, so the area of the disk after the computation is equal to 0.0314 square meter. Now next is we're going to determine now the electric flux when the angle is equal to 30 degrees. So the equation will be equal to um, electric field times the area cosine 30 degrees. So what's the magnitude of the electric field? The magnitude of the electric field is 2.0 times 10 to the 3. Now I did not write anymore the units of the quantities here just to make the lines shorter. But in the computation, you have to emphasize the units, right? Now, the area that we just recently computed is 0.0314 square meter, and cosine 30 degrees is equal to 0.866. Now, you can get the 0.866 from your calculator. So, multiplying these three values, we get 54.4 Newton square meter per coulomb. So the electric flux, okay, in this particular condition where the plane is, or where the normal of the area of the disk is at 30 degrees with the electric field lines, the electric flux that we can get is 54.4 Newton square meter per coulomb. Now, in letter B, what is mentioned is that the surface area is in parallel to the electric field lines, and or the normal is perpendicular. All right, if it is said that the normal is perpendicular to the electric field lines, or to the electric field, um, understood that the surface area of the disk in that particular condition is parallel with the direction of the electric field lines. Now, in this case, the angle is equal to 90 degrees. All right. So if we're going to compute it mathematically, if we're just curious if it is really equal to 0, so simply cosine 90 degrees is equal to 0. All right. Now, in any number that is multiplied by 0, we understand that already that will be equal to 0 as well. So that is why here in condition B, the electric flux is equal to 0. Now let's proceed to situation C. Now in this condition, it is said that the normal is in parallel with the direction of the electric field. Now, it is also understood that if the normal is in parallel with the electric field, the surface area of the disk is perpendicular to the electric field. All right. So as what I've said a while ago, that if this is the the arrangement, okay, of the surface area of something, we can get the maximum electric flux in this particular condition. Now take note that cosine 0 degrees is equal to 1. All right. So if we're going to compute that one, our electric field, the magnitude of the electric field is 2.0 times 10 to the 3. All right. And our area is 0.0314 square meter. Now take note, I did not write the units here for the sake of explanation, but in your computation, you really have to emphasize the units of every quantities. So what will be the final answer? So the final answer is 62.8 Newton square meter per coulomb, or you can round it off into 63. So in letter C, the electric flux that we can get out from this is equal to 62.8 or 63 Newton square meter per coulomb. Okay, now we have this practice problem, and I want you to solve this, and we will check your output during our face-to-face class. The statement of the problem goes like this: a flat sheet of paper of area of 0.250 square meter is oriented so that the normal to the sheet is at angle of 60 degrees to a new uniform electric field of magnitude 40 Newton per coulomb. So letter A, you are going to find the magnitude of the electric field flux through the sheet. Letter B, uh, Does the answer to part A depend on the shape through the sheet? So you're going to explain this one, and why or why not. Okay, so you're going to justify your answer. And letter C, for what angle between the normal of the sheet and the electric field is the magnitude of the flux through the sheet is the largest, okay, and the smallest. So you're going to explain your answer. All right.